to all my subscribers and viewers, to all our students in grade 11, good day everyone. Kumusta po? Welcome to MaqLinz TV. Welcome to Basic Science. To all our dear students, please take good care in going to school kasi laging umuulan. At sa lahat nating mga kaibigan dyan sa northern part of Luzon, mag-ingat po tayo. Okay, so at this point of time, we will discuss the very first topic in grade 11 Earth and Life Science, which is the habitability of planets. Earth, the unique planet. Okay, so before we go into the different factors, what makes a planet habitable, kailangan muna nating alamin kung ano ang ibig sabihin ng habitable zone. Okay? Habitable zone, ito po yung area around any star system or the solar system where life could exist. Ito po yung area na kung saan kung merong planeta, ang mga planetang yun ay pwedeng mag-cater ng life. And in our solar system, there are 3 planets that stays in the habitable zone. We have the first one, Venus, located at the inner boundary of the habitable zone. And we have Earth at the center of that habitable zone, and Mars located at the outermost boundary of that habitable zone. But what makes our planet unique among all other planets, and what makes our planet habitable than Venus and Mars? Okay, so ito po yung mga factors na kinokonsidera para ang isang planeta ay habitable or pwedeng tirahan or pwedeng magkaroon ng buhay. Number 1 is temperature. So temperature influences how quickly atoms and molecules move. So if there's not enough of this temperature on a certain planet, okay, so this will cause chemicals to react slowly, producing very important products that's supposed to be useful to organisms if there are. And take note that a planet that has too low temperature will turn liquid water into solid and will become useless. Okay? So what if a planet has this enough temperature range, just like Earth? Now, life seems to be limited to a temperature of negative 15 degrees Celsius up to a maximum of 115 degrees Celsius. So at this range of temperature, chemicals can react in order to produce substances very essential to life. And take note, in this range of temperature, liquid water remains liquid generally and can be very useful to all living organisms, including plants and animals. Now, what about if a planet has too much of this temperature? Example, Venus and Mercury. Well, let us focus on Venus because Venus is located at the innermost part of this Goldilocks zone. Venus has a very high temperature at an average or surface temperature of 400 plus degree Celsius. Take note, at this level of temperature, biological molecules such as carbohydrates, proteins, and even our genetic material DNA and RNA will break up or disintegrate. And if there is liquid water, this water will just turn into steam or water vapor and can be useless if there are living organisms on those planets. So don't forget, number 1 factor is temperature. Second is the atmosphere. Smaller planets, including moons, has also atmosphere maybe, but depending on the presence of magnetic field. Okay? If the magnetic field is so weak or zero magnetic field, then that planet cannot hold its temperature, just like Mars and our moon. Now, always remember that if a planet doesn't have this atmosphere or too thin atmosphere, then that means that it has a very poor protection against cosmic rays and radiation. Okay, so all of the alpha, beta, and gamma rays coming from outer space or coming from the sun will just enter directly to the surface of the planet because it doesn't have enough atmosphere to shield or to protect the planet. And if there are living organisms, those organisms will die. On Earth, we have this right amount of gases. We have this 100 kilometers thickness of atmosphere. We have this oxygen, we have this carbon dioxide, we have this nitrogen and other gases. And so, we are protected by this atmosphere against cosmic radiations and harmful radiations coming from space and coming from the sun. And take note, it is because of the presence of the global magnetic field. And on Venus, always remember, has 100 times thickness of our atmosphere. Okay? But in that case, even if Venus is protected by this atmosphere against harmful radiations and cosmic radiations, but this atmosphere, because it's too thick, will just trap sunlight or trap heat, making the entire surface of Venus very hot. Take note, the role of the atmosphere is to trap heat, to provide essential gases and chemicals for all living organisms. And take note, it will also shield a planet from harmful radiation. That's the second factor. What about the third factor which makes a planet habitable? You have energy. Okay? Organisms use light and chemical energy in order to run the different life processes. In a planet, well, this energy is not enough, just like light. No? Just like light. Of course, plant cannot undergo photosynthesis. If there's not enough chemical energy, of course, there's not enough energy to support the activities by cells, and organisms will die. Okay? For a planet that has enough of this energy like light and chemical energy, just like Earth, our plants, all plants will continue to manufacture their food in the process of photosynthesis and thus continue to support other living organisms just like animals. And take note, chemical energy came from the food that we eat, and this will constantly gives us energy in order to do our daily activities. For a planet wherein this energy is too much, it will just make a planet very hot. Okay? So there are advantages, there are also disadvantages. The fourth factor which makes a planet habitable is the presence of nutrients and used to build up and maintain an organism's body. So in a planet without these necessary nutrients, there's not enough chemicals to create carbohydrates, proteins, and therefore organisms cannot grow. Okay? For a planet that has enough of these nutrients, just like Earth, it will continue to provide necessary things for life to continue. Okay? And take note that planet with a lot of these nutrients must have this just like volcanic activity and the water cycle, so that these nutrients can be used by all life forms. Okay? It can be transported from one place to another. Now what about if a planet has too much of these nutrients? There's no problem. Okay? But the problem is, if there's too much circulation, just like water cycle, there's constant raining, just like another is constant volcanic activity, then that's a problem because it will just hinder organisms to obtain nutrients. Okay? So again, there are four factors which makes a planet habitable. Number one is temperature. You should have the just right amount of temperature. Number two, have that atmosphere in order to trap heat, to protect against harmful radiation, and also to supply the necessary chemicals to support life. Third, a planet must have enough nutrients in order to support all cellular activities. And fourth, nutrients must be present to continue to support necessary nutrients to maintain an organism's body. Okay, so that would be all for at this moment.